he's being dropped from future films because they don't know. They have to protect their brand. So I understand, like, whether you're innocent or guilty is, like, remains to be seen, but we can't risk that for us.
That audience, becomes older, follows the stuff as they grow up. I mean, I grew up with Harry Potter. That was like my, those movies came out as I was that age. So it, like, that hit me in a spot.
I got a simple one. I didn't feel like getting booze and trying to come up with concoctions, so I saw this in the store and I was like, fuck it, I want to try it. Modelo Chelada. No.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Personified Fandom, episode 18. I am Josh Meany, and joined with me, the mythical man of movie madness himself, Mr. Mike Daggs. Mike, how you doing?
What's going on? Coming back in hot with those names, I see.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to stumble on Ginties, though. Now I'm under pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure now.
And Mr. Ginty, Mr. Toke, Mr. Eric, how you doing today?
Thanks for that lovely welcoming.
Yeah, I'll have a better one for you next week, I swear. Came off the dome. I didn't write it down this time.
We were just joking about, like, the late, like, yeah, I'm here, Bob.
But we got some interesting topics to talk about this week. Of course, we're obviously going to get to the Mandalorian season finale at some point. But Mike, what do you want us to start with today?
So probably honestly, of all of these, the biggest, once I got in, like, started digging into the article about this, probably the most news, and that's the overhaul of MGM properties and the TV rights and who owns what and what scripts are being evaluated. And there's a whole bunch of shows and IPs that they want to kind of either reboot or relaunch or just dig into more because it's like they sat around and went, well, a lot of this new crap we make isn't great. Let's go back to the old well and see if we can dig some stuff up. And there's a lot of properties that are like, it's weird that they bring it up because some of them, I don't know if they have any relevance to them anymore, but some of them do. Like they focused on, like, RoboCop, Legally Blonde. There's a bunch of stuff going on. They mentioned Barbershop in here, which is like, I don't know.
Barbershop.
Strange. Like
Stargate.
Stargate, which I'm actually on board with because Stargate was one of those shows my brother was into a lot. Yeah. And I didn't care for, but it's one of those, it's on in the background and you're kind of just watching and the next thing you know, you're like, oh yeah, let's put on, start the new season, so.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the movie Stargate. I loved the original movie, and then the series SG-1 I thought was it was a good one. I was in that older generation where I did follow that show a lot, and I thought they did a great job casting it. So, but here we are back in that spot of in talks of rebooting or reinvestigating,
revamping. Yeah, see, I never got into Stargate. What do you guys think of a revamp of Stargate?
I don't know. I mean, maybe just do another series. Don't try to redo it or reboot it. Just continue on with it or something. Because it was a great show.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's funny because it's one of those, like, I liked the first one and then Atlantis came out and I liked that one too. But then I like since then I learned that people didn't like it, which is always a weird thing when it almost goes back to like an innocent time for me where you think that something is good, but it's not, and you don't know that it isn't good.
Yeah. Like, it's a terrible feeling when you go back and you're like, damn.
Yeah, this is bad. Or even that, like, people in general just didn't like it. And you're like, why didn't they like it? Like, it's so weird to me that it's before time. Now it's like I always kind of have my finger on the pulse. I'll always kind of get a feel for if it's good or not. Yeah. And if it's not good, then I can sort of, like, sometimes I don't always listen to it, but I can appreciate what's not good about it, or I recognize, like, oh, this isn't good. But no, I cared for, I liked Stargate. I don't know if I'm like, oh my God, I want a new thing of it, because it's a weird, just like mixed baby between like Star Wars, Star Trek,
Yeah.
sci-fi. It's got
Firefly.
some cool concepts. Yeah, I confuse it a lot with Star Trek. I thought it was like just a same universe Star Trek thing.
It looks a lot like Star Trek.
There's a lot of the similar enemies and like people they fight seem like, oh, isn't it Star Trek?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool concept. But
Yeah.
I think out of all the IPs that they mentioned, I think the one that got me excited is RoboCop. I love the RoboCop films. I even like that RoboCop reboot, which didn't do very well and wasn't critically well received, but I enjoyed it. I've always found the story of RoboCop to be really interesting, and I think that is definitely something that you could definitely do a show with, especially with Amazon. Amazon's got a really good team when it comes to their shows, so like I would definitely be interested in them doing a RoboCop show. I think that would be cool. But other than that, I mean, you're right. Some of these IPs are things that were kind of like, are people asking for this? You know, like Barbershop. I love the Barbershop films, but I don't know where I stand with that is kind of like if Ice Cube's not attached, Cedric the Entertainer, like, do I care? I don't think I do. So if it's just another show that takes place in a barbershop, I don't think I'm going to care. But if you get the original cast back, I mean, yeah, I'd check it out. But other than that,
is anyone really asking for Legally Blonde again?
I don't think anyone's ever asked for Legally Blonde.
So the third one, I was reading, the third one has been in like the script writing hell for years and years, and it is kind of a weird like. Okay, it's weird that they mentioned it so much in this article, but it's. Hey, I mean, there's an audience for it somewhere, so someone is going to be like,
right?
Yeah, I've been waiting for it. But it just goes to like their IPs are just kind of sitting there doing nothing, and they can kind of spruce new life into some things, which is that's all right. I mean, I know like the Creed and the Rocky universe has been. They've also mentioned that it's been kind of in limbo, and I know they obviously just came out with Creed 3, but there's like just what they're doing with it, as far as if they're going to kind of make this like a staple, like if these are going to be more movies going through. I know they mentioned possibly doing another Rocky movie or something, but that's not exactly Creed. But
yeah, something in that world. Yeah, it seems like Michael B. Jordan really wants to expand on that universe, which I mean, sure, I'm not clamoring for it, but I'm not opposed to it. I was opposed to Creed 1. You know what I mean? And then I watched Creed 1 and I was like, oh, okay, like this is a pretty damn good movie. So, I mean, there's definitely things inside of there that you could do. I think I'm kind of done with the Creed story. And if any of you guys who are watching have seen the third one, it can kind of end now with that character. But, yeah.
Well, it's funny that it can kind of end now because I didn't see Creed 3, but I can imagine that Jonathan Majors won't be reprising his role anytime soon because that boy is in a little bit of some hot water.
A little bit of hot water, yeah.
A little bit of hot water.
It's a little warm.
So his talent and his PR team and his talent manager have removed themselves from the situation with him. Doesn't look good against some allegations of domestic violence, and we all know that he got in a fight a few months ago, right? He fist fought somebody or something. I can't remember exactly, but go ahead, Toke. What are you saying?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's obviously, yeah, he's innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, with these kind of things going around and happening, and obviously now his agent left him high and dry. The PR company said, nope, we're done. We're not doing anything with you anymore. There was rumors of Marvel dropping him and looking to recast Kang.
Mm-hmm.
But in other articles that I've seen, there's been no such talk from Marvel about dropping or parting ways with him. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a real difficult subject. I mean, when it first kind of came up, like, I've had my speculations about it, but I wasn't really ready to talk about it like on a platform like we are right now until this information came out that he's now being dropped. I feel like that's not a good look.
No.
if you're being dropped
Especially-
from future projects, you're dropped by your management team, whose their main job here is to clean this shit up, and they bailed, and it's kind of like, again, innocent till proven guilty, but it's not a good look, and it's kind of like the main thing that I think pops in a lot of people's mind is, what is the future of Kang? What is Marvel gonna do? Because I mean, they took James Gunn out for some insensitive tweets, you know what I mean? Domestic abuse, I can't imagine they keep Kang in. So it's kind of like, what do you do with that, you know? And I understand kind of why they're quiet. They're kind of just waiting back, like, all right, let's kind of see how this plays out. I remember when the story first broke, I believe it was his lawyer said, you know, we have empirical evidence to prove his innocence.
Yeah.
How long ago was that, though? Yeah, it's like you haven't released that yet. So it's a really weird thing. It's a really weird thing. But I think, like, you know, Jonathan Majors is kind of doing the right thing by not coming out and saying anything. Because you know how the internet works. I mean, you already have people coming out of the woodworks like, oh, Jonathan Majors has always been a terrible person. And now I also read that there's some other women coming out who are speaking out. And that's kind of just what happens every time people start coming out of the woodwork with it. So I think he's doing the right thing by kind of just sitting back and letting well, I was going to say letting his management team handle it, but now I don't. No, I don't really know.
He ain't got one of those. He ain't got one of those. It's not a good look when you're now, and it could be, you know, the PR team could just be wanting to, like, there could have been a mutual thing where he, you know, they're saying they dropped him, but again, it's an article, it's clicky. We don't know 100% if, like, they were like, because PR teams usually don't step away from somebody, you know, like you said, it's the PR team that's their job, is to, like, cover stuff up. And I can't imagine that he did something so heinous that, you know, they're willing to completely cut ties and walk away. So it could have just been a relationship that was kind of already on the rocks, and they just, you know, were like, we're going to step away from it. But I don't know. Like you said, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
No,
your talent manager. Especially where he was in successful films too, you know, like it's not like
exactly. Because I understand these other studios kind of like, you know, he's being dropped from future films because they don't know, they have to protect their brand. So I understand like whether you're innocent or guilty is like remains to be seen, but we can't risk that for us. So I get that, but yeah, it's just the management team dropping him was like, okay, like I really hope, because Jonathan Majors, he's really one of those guys who kind of, for me anyway, just really came out of nowhere. I in the last couple years, and he's just proven to be such a good actor. He's becoming one of those actors who it's like, no matter what film he's in, I'm interested because he's in it. Kind of like I feel like that way with John Bernthal. You know, I don't care what the movie is. You tell me he's in it, I want to see it because I like to watch him act. But as far as Marvel, because I know that's the main question going out right now is what is Marvel going to do? And I think, honestly, it's early enough. I know he's been seen in some content so far, but I do believe it's early enough that if they do want to go a different route and bring in another actor to play Kang, they can, plus using the multiverse. I mean, I know in that post-credit scene of Ant-Man, it showed a lot of his variants, and a lot of the variants were Jonathan Majors, which is very strange. But I don't know. I feel like they could easily make that change, and it won't have a huge impact. You know, it's not. We haven't gotten that much of Jonathan Majors as Kang, but whatever they're gonna do, they have to do it quick. I mean, they've been silent, but I don't know if they can wait for an entire trial to go through. You know what I mean? I think the way the phase is going, we need to know who's our Kang, like, now. You know, because I'd imagine he's going to be in some post-credit scenes for some of the films coming. Like, I think, they're in a real tricky situation.
Yeah. He was a huge part of Phase 5 or Phase 5, Phase 6, one of the phases, whatever phase we're in. That's just his variant. They need to clean that up. He's become a one of those things when he goes rogue. Maybe it was just his variant that did it. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
That would be the greatest if he just said that. It wasn't me. It was my variant. Yeah. I'm sure something will come of it. I'm sure they're digging into it, trying to figure out if they've got legs behind to stand behind him, which not a lot of
TV companies and production companies seem to do that these days. You know, I feel like back in the day when movie stars would get in trouble, the studios would just be like, no, we're standing behind him. Now it's like they're much more likely to just be like, nope, and move on.
Yeah, because the internet, man, I mean, that it really does affect their brand when they don't. You just have like the rare case of Ezra Miller where it's like, how have you, he's been proven guilty, but that also remains to be seen. But Marvel is definitely not DC, you know, they're not going to put up that.
Maybe they should take kind of an example of like, you know, the product versus the, you know, the sum of the parts doesn't equal everything about it. And it's, you know, again, we don't know to the extent of what happened. It's not all public knowledge yet. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe,
a lot of
you know,
information, but not enough empirical data.
Yeah. Maybe it's going to take a company as big as something like Disney or Marvel to like not pull the trigger so quickly to show other companies that, hey, you don't need to completely cancel someone immediately and, you know, pull the plug on all your things. But
Johnny Depp,
I don't know.
Johnny Depp,
yeah, right,
exactly. So I don't know, but it feels like we're in an age now, like, I don't want to say an age, but a time where things are kind of slowing down on that aspect. Like, it hasn't happened as much as where it's not, I don't think it's as prevalent as it was maybe 10 years ago when it was like immediate. Like, I mean, you see it right now. Marvel hasn't cut ties with him, and now they do have a lot of chips pushed in with him.
Yeah.
So that I could see why they're taking their time to do it. But I mean, if this was like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't think they would have cared at all. I think they would have immediately nixed him and dropped him. I mean, look what even last year, what happened with Justin Roiland and those, everybody cut ties with him, and then it turns out that like the charges were all dropped. So it's like, well,
yeah,
you've already made that bed. So
right.
I don't know. But we'll watch it because obviously Marvel's a huge part of what we talk about here. So I'm sure that, you know, as soon as we found out some,
it's definitely something we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for.
Yep. Keeping eyes peeled for, just like everything. We say it all the time. Everything old is new again. The Twilight Saga is rumored to be coming back in some sort of sense. They haven't it's in an infancy stage of being brought back. It hasn't been said whether it's going to be a TV show or another movie or
TV series
or they said or movies. It could be movies. And they don't know the setting. The setting, if it's a reboot or if it's like multiple new stories or anything like that.
Yeah, it's in the very infant stage. Like, it doesn't even have it still hasn't been shopped around to like an actual studio or anything. But I mean, it is confirmed to be happening. But yeah, it's very from what I read, it's a TV series that they're in very early development for. But that's really it.
So now
it does show that it's going to be they don't know if it's going to be a remake of the books or a different offshoot. So
now, Josh, you seemed like in the comments that when we talked about this earlier that Twilight means something to you.
Yeah, because you were talking a little wild. You were getting a little spicy, you know? You're talking down on Twilight, bro. Well, what's going on? No, when it comes to Twilight, look, I did enjoy Twilight when it came out, but I will not go on a limb to say that these were great films because they weren't. There's some bad stuff in them, but I think one of the things that people easily forget is that these movies were wildly successful. Like as a business decision, the decision to continue and do something more with Twilight is a great business choice.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I wouldn't say I'm excited. I enjoyed them when they came out. The movie theater events of the midnight screenings were I liken them to Harry Potter, honestly. I mean, they were huge events when these films were coming out. I think if you're to do anything, I would like to see a reboot done better. It's still being shopped around, but like, what if like HBO did it? You know what I mean? And they took a darker more serious approach. I mean, I guess Twilight did have a dark and serious approach, just a better approach. You know, there's a story there, I think. And yes, it's a story we've seen, but
do it from Edward's side instead of
What's
Bella's
that vampire
side.
show that they have that everybody watches?
Was it True Blood?
True Blood, yeah. I mean,
or Vampire Diaries, or it was one
Vampire
of them.
Something with. I mean, not to. I just I don't want to like take over and say this, but like I just don't know what that series has to offer over if you're going to go darker with it more so than any of those.
Like, yeah, no. As soon as I said it, I was like, no, I guess it is already. Not a darker, but just a more.
Because I mean, the synopsis of Twilight is more focused on the love triangle more so than like the violence and the, it's. I do like seeing it from the human side of it because it does give it's a different side to the story. Because like you said, Toke, if you just told it from Edward's point of view, I mean, it's just
a whole different story.
It's just a vampire.
Yeah,
a vampire story, which is
it's the same story but completely different at the same time, which I think could be interesting. And I know she was writing those books, and then someone got a hold of her early copies and released them, and she's like, you know what? I'm done. Forget it. It's over.
Really? Yeah, see, I think a better way to phrase what I'm trying to say is aimed more for adults. These movies were very much for teenage and preteens, like that vibe. I would like a more serious take if they are to do it again, but if they go for exactly what they did, I'm in a place in life where that's not going to do it for me anymore. When I was in high school, it was fun to watch and get into, but I don't have time for that shit anymore. You know what I mean? So if they are to do something, that's kind of what I hope they do. But the whole story is based for teenagers. That's what it's for. It's not for adults. Any adult watching that is just kind of, I think, being suckered into the fact that it's being marketed towards teenagers. I mean, it's not something that the whole high school love thing, puppy love fling is not. It's usually not attractive to us. We're just I want either the action side or a legitimate love story, and these or them to just be
kids.
older, out of high school, adults. And maybe base it off the books, but not have it be exactly the books.
But then you're talking about it's targeting a different audience, and you're not going to get that. I mean, you got to think of why Harry Potter is successful. This was successful. It targets that childhood emotion from younger people who are I'm about this. This movie speaks to me because it's an escape from, being a stupid kid. Maybe something cool like this could happen to me. And that's what gets that audience. And that audience, becomes older, follows the stuff as they grow up. I mean, I grew up with Harry Potter. That was my, those movies came out as I was that age. So it that hit me in a spot. If Harry Potter came out today and I wasn't, today, it never came out before and it came out just now when I'm 35 years old, I don't know if it would speak to me. I just don't know if it would grab my attention the way it did when I was a kid. And just I'm sure there's a lot of, and I'm sure it would grab, other people, and I'm sure it would be just as huge as it was back then. But I mean, that's kind of how it is with the Twilight thing. You're going to get the people that are going to watch it that are older because they kind of grew up with it. But
I think you're absolutely right. That's actually, that's a really good point. The business sense of it, I want them to kind of deviate from the material that was successful, but that wouldn't be a great business choice at all for them to do. Yeah. I can't imagine this is going to be great. I really can't. And I'm interested to see where it lands, too. That's also kind of telling.
I don't think
studio sees.
I can imagine.
Let's do it.
I mean, if HBO does take it on, then maybe it would have I mean, it could be good. It could be good. The high upside is that that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Not. I can't see a Twilight show being fantastic, but I could see it being good enough to make a bunch of money. And hey, it doesn't need to be the next, Last of Us or Game of Thrones or whatever this new Harry Potter thing will be.
Right.
Or this new reboot of Harry Potter.
I definitely don't think it'll be a continuation because I don't know if you guys have seen, but some of these actors that were in the films fucking hated being in the films. Like Robert Pattinson hates those movies. Kirsten Stewart is not into that. Like, and they're also such better actors and actresses than they were when they were in there. They could be doing so much better. I doubt you're going to pull out a script that Robert Pattinson is going to be like, yeah, I want to do that.
Batman or Edward Cullen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Now I will say, like you said, Josh, I did like the movies, and I'm just a sucker for anything with an expanded, like a long running of movies. I'm always a sucker for. Like, I'll watch it. Like, I would, if someone was like if my girlfriend was like, oh, you want to watch all the Twilight movies? I'd be like, okay. Like, we just rewatched the Hunger Games movies the other day. Yeah. And it's funny because I originally hadn't liked them as much as I did. Like, I when I first watched them, I was like, yeah, these are okay. And then now revisiting them, I'm like, oh, these are actually pretty fucking good. I actually really like it. I actually am thinking about reading the books.
Yeah, I've never seen them, and that was another kind of event thing that I know the movie theater screenings were pretty big for when those movies were coming out.
Oh, you've never seen any of them?
I've never seen any of them. Should I?
Oh, well.
Really? Should I add it to the?
Yeah,
I think you should. I think
you
anything
should.
with 4 movies. I mean, they did 4 movies
right,
they did part 1 and part 2, and it wasn't. What was probably the worst one? Twilight probably did. That was probably the worst. Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2 was probably like, you're just cash grabbing this for 2 movies.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But the Hunger Games did have a lot of material. Like, those are 2 full movies. 2 actual full-length
and there's still stuff that they couldn't put in from the book.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get that out of my girlfriend. Like, what from the books isn't in this? And she hadn't read the books in a long time.
Well, they have a new one coming out. It's a spin-off.
Yeah, it's like 50 years before.
Yeah,
the Capitals or something. It's Capital City or what is it? We just looked it up because we both might read it because it sounds interesting.
Oh, really?
It takes place
a new book.
Years. Yeah, I think the book comes out in May.
Yeah, and they're doing a new
soon.
Movie.
Yeah, actually, no, the book might already be out.
Oh, really?
So is it pre or post?
I believe prequel. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like 20 years before or something.
Yeah, it's just one of those series that really missed me when it came out, and I just never took the time to go back to it. And I don't know, there's the series, what is it, Insurgents, or is that what it's called? Yeah, I remember checking that out because I saw it was like going to be multiple films, and I was like, oh, this movie sucks. And then same with Maze Runner. I tried Maze Runner, the first one. I was like, I'm not. It didn't get me. So I almost like categorized it in there. I was like, oh yeah, it's probably not going to hit me the way it hit other people. But
I got sucked into all the Insurgents movies. I saw them all. Yeah.
Oh,
but I was disappointed because you go back to the like the Hunger Games, like those were so successful, but it completely destroyed the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo franchise. Because that was another one that came out at the same time, and then it had some really good fucking actors in that movie too.
Yeah, I saw the first one. It was
fantastic.
Really good. Yeah,
and they recently came out a couple years ago. They finally came out with like the second one, but with completely different actors, completely different mode, and I was just like, it's good, but it's just not the same.
So update, the book came out in 2020. The movie comes out in November 17th.
Oh, no shit.
So, yeah, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes comes out November.
That was the name.
Which, yeah, I'm all in for. I actually kind of want to read the book, but I also kind of want to be just surprised by the movie. But I think I might read the book because it takes place 18 years, and it's essentially President Snow when he's 18 years old. And there's all that, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
When he's 18?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's 18-year-old Cornelius Snow.
Oh, so this is going to be like 40, 50 years
Yeah. Yep.
pre.
Yep. But yeah, no, Josh, I would say 100% watch the movies. I think it's 100%.
Yeah.
That's exciting to hear, you know, like getting recommended, but like I obviously take your opinions into consideration because we have a podcast together, you know, and
Exactly.
but no, that's exciting,
No, but
especially when there's a new film coming out, you know, it gives me time to catch up. It's kind of what I did with Creed when I saw Creed 3 was coming out. I'm like, all right, because I never saw Creed 2, only saw Creed 1. So yeah, that's fun. All right, I'm definitely gonna add that, put it at the top of the list.
I think for me, I think Hunger Games kind of I looked at it in the same vein as like Twilight, where it's like, oh, it's like a love story, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Where I put it.
That's the overarching themes are love story, but it's more than that. It's a lot more.
So much more.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's some sort of like break your brain. This is like going to change the way you view the world type of movie series.
Right? Yeah.
It's definitely
no.
you'll watch it and you'll 100% enjoy it. They're 1,000% enjoyable movies.
And how many are there again?
4.
Cool.
There's
I think they're all on Netflix right now too.
They are all on Hulu.
All right, perfect. I got Hulu.
Hulu or Peacock, one of those.
Got both.
If you have both,
got the Hulu, got the cock. Yeah.
Got it all, baby. Speaking of things that are, again, I believe this entire episode today is going to be about old things being made new again. Blah blah blah. Galaxy Quest series coming to Paramount Plus. So Galaxy Quest is one of those movies that I feel like not a lot of people have seen.
No,
I don't know. I know you like.
Oh, it's a classic from 1999, baby.
Yeah, I watched this, I think, on like TBS at my grandparents' house. And it was just one of those eye-openingly funny, hilarious movies that I was like, what? How come, like, I've never heard of this? It's so goddamn funny. It's good. It's the best. It ranks as like the best Star Trek movie, like one of the best Star Trek movies, which is amazing.
Agreed.
Because it pulls that spoof incredibly.
I think it's the best spoof movie.
Like, yeah, I mean, it might be.
It
might be one
took
of the
itself
best
serious to the perfect amount, I believe, where it never teetered over that line, and it's still like a solid film in its own right. Needless to say, Galaxy Quest is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll steal the line from you, Josh. It has no business being as good as it is. Mike, it doesn't. It shouldn't be that
it shouldn't be that
funny.
Really it shouldn't be that. No. Sigourney Weaver, Tim Allen,
Alan Rickman.
Like,
Alan
are you
Rickman.
kidding me? Justin
Tony
Long
Shalhoub.
when he was
Justin Long.
baby.
Justin Long. God, what's his name? From Moon and who plays Guy? Why can't I think of his name right now?
Oh, that's from Iron Man, right? He played
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yes.
Who I love in everything. He's another one. Like if he's in it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. But yeah, as far as the show, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about a show based on that. I know they tried to come out. They had one in the works, and it was pretty far along in like its development. And then Alan Rickman passed away.
Yeah.
Super unfortunately. So they kind of scrapped it because he was going to be a huge part of it. But I don't know. I mean, it's
one of those things that they don't. Again, this one's another one that's on the infancy stage of discussions. Like they don't know what they're gonna do with it yet. They know they want to do a series, but they don't know if they want to do the series based on the movie or if they want to do an actual series based on the series the movie is portraying.
Right.
Yeah. Because like at the end of the movie, they say that they brought the show back.
Yeah.
So I think if they could balance that would be great. Like a balance between the actors and keeping that spoof part of it alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I will say
I don't know what to think about this.
I have zero interest if the cast is not returning. That's going to be a huge turnoff. That's why I'd get interested in it because I mean,
I would say that Alan Rickman won't be in it.
Right, obviously, yes. But I want Tim Allen back, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, even Justin Long.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yes, yeah. I want everyone that can come back to come back.
Yeah.
I think if you do something new, I mean, Galaxy Quest holds such a special place in my heart. Like it really does. That movie really took me for a turn when I first saw it as a kid, and I just have zero interest in any sort of reboot or even a continuation that doesn't have the cast in it.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in. I mean, now if people tell me it's dope, yeah, I'll check it out. But if I hear the cast isn't coming back, I won't be watching on launch day. I just won't.
But you will check it out.
Now, if they made it more of a limited series type thing,
That'd be nice. Yeah.
And I feel like that might be the only way you can go with it to get that amount of the cast back would be a limited series, which could be interesting and fun.
Yeah. And Tim Allen's not doing a whole lot. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that Santa Claus series on Disney Plus, but yikes.
No, I did not.
Yeah, he's not very busy, so he can definitely come back. But I know Sigourney Weaver does still have a lot going on. Yeah, it depends.
Yep. So I think that brings us to the season finale of The Mandalorian and our overall thoughts and reactions to it. I'll start. Toke, what did you think about the season finale episode?
Fucking loved it, man. It just started off just all the Mandalorians, just the big fucking battle between the Mandalorians and Empire, whatever you want to call them, because we don't really know what leftovers that are wearing fake Mandalorian
steel,
suits, and it was a fucking fun battle to watch. And seeing Din Djarin escape, and then Grogu coming in fucking with RG-12. No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just, I mean, there was a lot of shit that happened, and I thought it was a very good way to end that season. And I know that there was discussions of this being the final thing and a movie to finish them all up, but season 4 is already written. They already have season 4 in the books ready to, but probably won't come out till 25. But
yeah,
I mean, this episode was just great. I loved the way everything ended with everything, and now having Din Grogu.
Din Grogu.
Yeah. I'll say that I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I've been really enjoying the season as a whole. I've been super happy with it, and I think my expectations for where the show and where the current state of Star Wars is going kind of built up a little bit too much hype for me. At the end of the day, I mean, it's still their most valuable franchise, like IP in the IP of everything. The Mandalorian is the most popular of all the Star Wars stuff right now. So I kind of forgot that there's a season 4 coming out. So I was really hoping that they would do kind of left this more open-ended to go somewhere, where now it kind of seems like you're kind of back to where you were at the beginning of this season. There's a couple more Mandalorians, but overall, they killed off Moff Gideon again, I think, maybe, possibly.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely this time, but who knows?
I don't know. We thought Sidious died.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, somehow Palpatine returned. But no, I did enjoy it. I will just say I'm sounding a little down on it now, but I did enjoy it. Just I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but it was still awesome. It was like a movie. The last episode was like a movie in itself, which was just amazing. Great action scenes. You finally got to see Mando kicking ass, which he kind of hasn't all season. He's kind of gotten his ass kicked. He's been like the the Dark Knight Rises version of Batman in this season, where he's just getting his ass kicked all season. You're like,
the fucking punching bag.
Yeah, you forget how badass he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you forget how badass he is until he starts whooping everyone's ass in this one. You're like, okay, cool. I'm glad. I'm glad you finally showed up at the end of the episode, the end of the season. Yeah, and there was a couple cheesy things, I think, with them doing another one of those fucking things where stormtroopers can't catch a little child and Grogu just like flipping around, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, you can't hit that little guy. Like, give my 8-year-old nephew a blindfold and he'll hit that thing. I'm jumping around like that. I did see I forget his name, but the big Mandalorian dude with the chain gun. I saw that death. That was telegraphed from a mile away, even from the prior episode. But he went out like a badass too.
Yep.
That was actually the episode before.
We'll call him Swole Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. Not as much as I thought I was going to, but it was good. Well, Josh, before we wrap up the season as a whole, what were your thoughts on this episode?
It was fine. I definitely wanted more from it. But there are some very great high points. I think every bit of action that this had was so Star Wars action to its core that I couldn't help but sit there like a little kid just cheesing the whole time. Like, I think all of the action was just great. Yeah, there's some high points, but there was just some low points for me. I mean, the way they kind of wrap up Moff Gideon's story, I feel like there was some beats that should have been explained throughout the season, which would have added more meat to the season. Like the reveal of the clones. Like, I feel like that should have been something that was revealed maybe mid-season. You're like, oh shit. And then, but no, the way it plays out here, oh, he has clones, and then he just disposes of them immediately. And it's kind of like, we don't get to marinate in how crazy that really is. We get this quick little speech from Moff Gideon, and it's just over. And I just think, I think there should have been things that were more spread out. Now, guys, I have a theory that I've been thinking about today, right? I feel as though Dave Filoni didn't have his hand in this season as much as he did the prior two. And I believe that might be because he's more focusing on Ahsoka, because I feel like the storytelling of 1 and 2 was so much better, and this more
It was
felt
so
like
much tighter.
Yes, and I feel like Dave Filoni said, okay, here's these key points of the season, and gave them that to work with, but then kind of went off. And, you know, again, that's just a theory, but if that is true,
I couldn't agree.
I think that...
I couldn't agree more. I think that this season suffered terribly from editing. The way they edited this season is very evident that it was not good. And even in this episode, it suffered from some editing, because he goes from quoting Thanos and going, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll go kill the Mandalorian myself, to when he shows up and finds out about his clones, he's like furious, pissed. And you're like, you were just like, chill, like, I'm going to go kill him. And then now you're just exploding with rage and anger. It's like, what did you can tell that they shot something else in a different order. And like, it felt really weird. And that got me. I actually rewound, because I was like, did I miss something other than him killing the clones?
Well, yeah. I mean, I felt like there's a lot of things that was definitely missing. Like in last week's episode where I had mentioned when they were talking about Moff Gideon being taken from his transport, and the New Republic pilot finds Beskar Steel in there, and so he's immediately going, "It's the Mandalorians that did this. They went and took him and got him out of here."
And then that goes nowhere.
But it's just like completely was like forgotten about.
And see, that's a story beat that could have had so much meat to it. I mean, this whole, like, the framing of the Mandalorian, but it's kind of just wrapped up real quick in like a one-off conversation. And they did that a lot this season, where, again, it feels like he was like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. And they kind of did what they did, and then at the end of an episode, they'll, like, throw that story beat in, but then not do much with it when they continue the next episode. And it was very very off, and yeah, I
like,
strongly feel
oh,
like he just
shit.
wasn't on set as much to like keep
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
story beats going, because these little moments, these little story beats through the season are all very, very interesting things. Like they're things I want to see and want to see how they play out. You know what I mean? Like the whole everything
Yes.
with Bo-Katan and rebuilding the Mandalorian and joining them together. But I mean, even at the end of this episode, like there's no conversation of Din Djarin and Bo-Katan kind of saying bye to each other. You know, there's no conversation with the Armorer and Bo-Katan of how they're gonna go forward. Like there's so much meat you could have added to this, and you kind of just wrapped it up. And I also want to say, I feel like they put themselves in a box with the season finale of season 2, because you did something in that season finale by bringing Luke Skywalker back that was so mind-blowing that it's like people are kind of expecting something big for that season finale. I mean, we got something big in the season finale of season 1. Like they ended on very high notes, but then season 3 was kind of like the big thing was Din Djarin adopted Grogu, and it's like that's not surprising, you know. It's a big key thing, but it's like, yeah, okay, like, of course he did. I mean, now you're just making it official, but he already did, basically, you know what I mean? It's just, there was nothing at the end to really cap it off well, I feel like.
No, even, like, killing off Gideon, it's like, oh, he's back. Oh, okay, he's dead. Like, I didn't care about him being back at all. They didn't sell me on him being a real threat, even with his Death Trooper suit. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then he just burns up and you're like, okay, like, I guess it just waiting so long to bring him in and making him feel like he was going to be more of a bigger threat, where it's like, you didn't have the plot, like the plot line just kind of went like, boop. And then it, like, that's it. It was just the clone thing, the clone, like introducing clones with the Beskar steel and manipulating, like, I don't want to say midichlorians, but like giving the force, like the ability to give his troopers force powers should have been the overarching thing throughout the entire season.
And that's fire.
You should have somehow made that the threat. I mean, I guess it's a little bit big of scope for the TV show, like, because that is kind of the craziest thing that Star Wars has ever done. Taking like the best part of each faction and putting it into one thing would be insane. And maybe that's what they're, someone's leaning on, like somewhere, maybe an Ahsoka, but we did predict that Thrawn would be in this episode, and I was really hoping for something like that would have. Yeah.
There should have been something to make us excited for what was coming next, and honestly, for me personally, there was nothing. There's nothing to get me excited about season 4. You know what I mean? There's nothing to get me more excited about Ahsoka. I'm already excited about Ahsoka, but there was nothing to push us forward. I feel like you can end it right there, and it's like fine. Honestly, I feel like season 1 and season 2 were must-watch television for Star Wars fans, and I don't think season 3 was for any episode. The only episode I got hyped for was the season finale, and then I watched the season finale, and I'm underwhelmed, and I feel like the series kind of took a dip. Now, like I said on the last episode, series do that, for seasons. There's always that season or two that are kind of like, but it can come back. But I don't know. There's just so many things that I feel like are being too played out. Like, I'm not as excited about Grogu. I want Grogu to do more than just walk around BQ and do some dope shit sometimes a little bit. I'd almost want a time jump. Like, I'm ready for Grogu to talk. I'm ready for him to get older. I want to see him train to be a Mandalorian. Like, that's some meaty stuff right there. But as far as them just going on these random adventures, episode to episode, and having kind of a key storyline go through, it's not going to do it for me anymore. So, like, obviously, I'll check out season 4, but a lot is riding on season 4 for me. If I feel the way I do about season 4 that I do about 3, I'm really going to fall off this show. And will I completely stop watching? No, but I might not watch it the day it comes out. I might feel like, okay, I can wait a couple days.
Exactly. That was my sentiment in the beginning of the season. I mean, it was like I wanted, as soon as it came out, I watched it, and then before we started talking about it, it was like, okay, I'll check it out on like Friday. And that's that completely changed around episode 6 and 7. I was like, six. It was like 7 and 8. We're like, oh my god, this is I'm loving this. I'm hyped for this. And then it was kind of a letdown for that series, that season finale. And no, I mean it was good, but not great. I don't think it stuck the landing.
No,
I think it came up short a little bit.
I think it should have been great. I think your season finale should have been something kind of big. We don't need Luke Skywalker to show up, but at the bare minimum, it would have felt a lot better to me if they showed Thrawn. Even if it was for 3.5 seconds at the end, it would be something to be like, oh, this is coming. But
even if they had if they had left and then like a ship showed up and it was Thrawn on it, that would be like, oh my god,
something, a pop. There was zero.
I was waiting. I was just watching. Like, is this it? He's just didn't Grogu? Okay.
It was almost jarring when it ended. I don't know if you guys felt that, but when the credits hit, I was like, oh shit, okay, we're done. It's completely over.
I kind of hung on all the way to the end, and then it came up to the watch Andor. I'm like, really?
No, they don't do any post-credit scenes, which is great, but it is like, I don't know.
I was hoping for a little something. I really was. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I loved it. I mean, there was definitely a lot of stuff that was missing, but I still loved the whole season. I mean, definitely wasn't as good in certain aspects as 1 and 2 by any means, but I kind of see how they put the puzzle pieces together, but they definitely are missing quite a bunch of those pieces.
Yeah.
Finish up with Toke's drink. You got a drink of the week this week?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got a simple one. I didn't feel like getting booze and trying to come up with a concoction, so I saw this in the store and I was like, fuck it. I want to try it. Modelo Chelada. Naranja Picosa. So, orange and chili peppers.
Okay. So
I have
spicy.
no idea. It's I'm assuming it'll have a little bit of spice, but I guess we'll find out, right?
Oh, he's going to shotgun it too.
Oh, fuck.
Actually, I shotgunned a beer last Saturday. It was great. I haven't done that in probably, I don't know, a few months.
This 24-ounce big boy. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
It's just crazy. Every time I see someone shotgun a beer, it's like, God bless your soul. Oh, there you go.
And sitting down too. Like, I don't think I could ever fucking shotgun.
I've only shotgunned a beer once in my life, and I feel like I almost drowned, and I just never did it again.
Dude, this is fucking delicious.
Is it?
Yeah.
Got a little spice to it?
It's definitely a little. You can feel the spice in the back of the tongue. Mm-hmm. It's not by any means. It's not like throwing like ghost pepper down your fucking throat. This is It's
so. What does it taste like?
It tastes like a spicy orange.
Okay, I like Modelo. I love Modelo's, so I'll have to check that out.
This was really fucking good. I'm definitely buying more of these bad boys. These will make some good fun on the TikTok.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'm waiting for that 1 week where like you do a drink of the week that you didn't like. You know, it's always like the stamp of approval, but I'm waiting for that one drink you do where you do it and you're like, that was trash.
Oh, I mean, if that's what we want, I can make that happen next week.
What do you mean?
Well,
I can, dude. There's drinks out there that are fucking disgusting that I'm just like, I don't want to do it, and I'll fucking do it.
I want the surprise of it though. I want you to go in and have no idea what it's going to taste like. And just
no, I have no idea what it tastes like because I've never done them.
Oh, okay.
I'm mortified to do them.
That'd be
like
interesting.
One of them,
I want to see you struggle. I know that's terrible.
Like the tapeworm, or the fucking what the hell was the other one? The smoker's cough is another one.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
No.
Sound gross.
Oh man.
No. They're
sound good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's some pretty nasty ones out there that I see people do. I'm just like, oh my god, no. But people do them and enjoy them. I'm like, there's no way that's even enjoyable, because everyone I've seen take them, like,
yeah, that'll definitely
instantly
be
running off camera. I'll do it and try to man up. I've done some. I mean, if you come into my if you come into some of my lives on Fridays and Saturday nights, man. Oh man, there's one guy that gets me to make these really disgusting drinks.
I'm gonna have to check.
They're not fun. They're not fun, man. But he does pay me to do it, so.
Hell yeah! Well, there you go. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, that's all we got today on episode 18, Personified Fandom. Mike, where can they find you?
Still just not even really Dag's reviews, just posting stuff on my Facebook like normal. Some fun stuff. Got a big weekend planned. And that's all I could say about that.
Any idea when you're doing your live stream?
Oh boy, I know. It's I've been trying to gobble up as much overtime as I can to save up some money.
Mm-hmm.
So at night it's just been crazy, but soon. I will say soon.
Oh, yeah.
I really promise soon.
Awesome. And Toke, where can they find you drinking?
Dude, you can find me on TikTok at Toke.24_NR. Usually at least every Friday night, if not Friday and Saturday night, I'm on live.
All right. And you guys can find me at the J-Meanie Review on YouTube, and find me right here on Personified Fandom. That is all we got for you folks today. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time. Hey, look at you. You made it to the end of the video. Oh, hey, look at you. You made it to the end of the video. Well, if you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button. Should be over here, I hope. Also, check out some of the other videos we have on the channel right over here. Do it. Click the video. Click the video. Dude.